Hey, everybody. I'm sorry to say, I know it said Melody was going to be here. And I thought Melody was going to be here until about 15 minutes ago when she texted me and told me her hip was bothering her and she wasn't up to sitting there for an hour in the chair. That's the problem, is sitting in that chair for an hour. So unfortunately, she's not here with us. So we're going to be doing a half-hour show. Uh, Maybe I'll stretch it a little further. We'll see what happens. But usually, when it's just me, it's really difficult for me to sit here and talk for an hour unless I'm prepared for it. And having just found out 20 minutes ago, I am not prepared for it. I was prepared for a show bantering back and forth with my lovely sister. But unfortunately, she's not here. And that's the part I enjoy the most, to be honest with you, about the podcast, is being able to sit here and talk back and forth with my sister for an hour. Because she doesn't live real close. She lives, reasonably close. She's about almost 2 hours away from me. So it's not, I can't just like bop over there on Wednesday afternoon or something. It takes a little planning to do it. But anyway, pardon me. You may have noticed the Fan Flak logo up in the upper right-hand corner. That's not going to remain after this week. I just put it there because I wanted to test the waters of the public domain and see if somebody would yell at me for using Disney's picture. Because that particular image of Mickey Mouse comes from, pardon me, I've got a little congestion again. That comes from Steamboat Willie and or Plane Crazy. The person gave it to me said it was from Steamboat Willie, but I'm kind of thinking it's from Plane Crazy. But both of those cartoons are now in the public domain, which means you can, on a limited basis, use the images for your own stuff without being attacked by the Disney law firm. So that's why it's up there. In fact, I'm going to take it down now. So say bye, Mickey. Okay. So today's show, you see by the background back there that that is Wonka, the Wonka factory. And that's what we'll be talking about today, is the Willy Wonka movies. Now, the first one of the Willy Wonka movies was in 1971 and starred Gene Wilder, Jack Albertson, and Peter Ostrom as Charlie. It was an excellent film. And that's why I was kind of hoping Melody would be here today, because Melody and I saw that movie, I do not know how many times, a lot of times. See, let's see, 1971, let's see, I was 16 and Melody was 12. And I don't know why, maybe only because it was only playing there. There was a there was a round theater in Rossmore. And for some reason, we live in Lakewood, but for some reason, they were playing Willy Wonka there like forever. So my mom drove us over there and dropped us off. So I don't know if my mom wanted a childless afternoon or what was going on, but that's what ended up happening. So we saw that movie at least 12 times. We saw it. And it's an excellent film. It's right up there with, in my opinion, it's right up there with The Wizard of Oz. It's a great movie. Now, a few little odd things about it. The movie was filmed, all the village scenes, like the aerial view of the village and everything, that was all filmed in Munich, Germany, because they were looking for like a European village feel for it. But most of the characters in the movie, at least the main characters, were Americans and all spoke English. And there were a few British actors in the film, and of course also spoke English. There was nobody. I think there might have been one person that was supposedly German in there. I know there was one that was like Swiss or something, but anyway, never made a whole lot of sense to me why the film was filmed in Germany and none of the cast was German. So they were just looking for a fantasy feel for the film. And like I say, it was really good. Like I just said, right up there with The Wizard of Oz and all of those classic films like that. To me, it's going to be thought of that way as it goes on into the future. It's going to be thought of with The Wizard of Oz. Apparently, now this was the other thing I was hoping for Melody to be here. Melody is familiar with the book, which I have never read. So I'll admit to that, my lack of knowledge of the written word of Willy Wonka, because I didn't see it or read it. Melody told me that the Johnny Depp movie was more true to the book than the Gene Wilder version of the film. There were some definite differences in the two films. In the Johnny Depp film, the scene from Gene Wilder where they have the geese laying golden eggs and the bad egg, and the girl goes over there and goes down to shoot at the bad egg. Well, that is not geese in the Johnny Depp movie. That scene is done with squirrels and nuts and bad nuts. So instead of a bad egg, she's called a bad nut, and she goes down the trash chute for the bad nuts. And then they have the same deal with the furnace and whether the furnace is lit or not. They, the same basic idea of that scene, but it's done differently. Now, why they changed that, I'm really not sure. They just wanted to be different, or if the scene with the squirrels was closer to what the book had in it, I don't know. It might have been that it was more difficult in 1971 to animate squirrels than it was to animate geese, because geese being much bigger, the mechanisms and so forth, that may have been what it was, that it was just easier in 1971 to do that special effect than it was trying to do squirrels. I mean, nowadays with CGI, you can do anything. You can have microbes doing it. So, yeah, it's a different era. So that may have been the reasoning. And there were a few other things like that were different in the two films. And those two films are basically sequels. Well, the Gene Wilder's the original, and the Johnny Depp is a sequel of the original film. So you can compare the two different scenes and so forth. Like I say, they are different. Now, the third film. Before we go on to that, there's the movie poster from the original Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. It's SRUMDIDILYUMPTIOUS. And here is the cast of the original film with Jack Albert and Peter Ostrom right here playing Charlie. Now, this fellow here, I didn't write down the actor's name, and I apologize for that. He played Mike TV, and I actually met the gentleman at one of the conventions. You know, a lot of times the actors that are in these classic films, they kind of get stuck with that as their claim to fame for their whole life. So he goes to these conventions. I'm not sure if he's still around, but he went to those conventions and he had pictures and everything that he would autograph, and that's his claim to fame, or like I say, at least was. Now here is Charlie. This is what he looks like now. This is Peter Ostrom from the original film. Looks a bit different, huh? The big mustache. All right. Now, the second here's a movie poster from the Johnny Depp film. Now, I'll tell you, I had heard from someone that saw this that it was terrible. So I never bothered to watch it until yesterday. And I really didn't think it was that bad. I thought it was pretty good. I think that Johnny Depp, I believe when he did this, he was going through some problems, and maybe, wait a second, this is the wrong poster. Nope, that's I think I've got two posters of the new movie. Okay, never mind on the poster. We'll just talk about it. I have two posters of the new movie. Supposedly that was the one from the Johnny Depp movie, but I didn't get one from the Johnny Depp movie. I apologize for going on without noticing that. But anyway, the Johnny Depp movie, it actually was pretty good. I have to say. I liked the way they did the Oompa Loompas and the music. That was pretty cool. You know, they kind of jazzed up the Oompa Loompa music a little bit instead of that Oompa, Oompa, you know. That was good in the 70s, but this was better. And we had, hang on, I have some notes here. The movie was made by Tim Burton, the fellow who's never, ever owned a comb. It had Johnny Depp, Freddie Highmore played Charlie, David Kelly played Grandpa Joe, and it had Christopher Lee in it playing Willy Wonka's father. Now, that was something that was not part of the Gene Wilder film. That was a completely different thing. Now, that may be something from the book. I don't know. Apparently, the writer of the book, his last name's Dahl. I'm not sure how to pronounce his first name. Roald Dahl. He had some involvement. He passed away in 1993, so I don't know how he would have had any involvement unless maybe this was in the works for a long time before they came out with it, but it's possible. You know, maybe he was farming it out, trying to get somebody else to do another movie. That could be. That happens a lot of times with writers. And a gentleman by the name of Deep Roy played the Oompa Loompa. They just reproduced them a bazillion times, and he played the Oompa Loompas. And like I say, it was really a good movie. I'd watch it again. It wasn't the Gene Wilder movie. But you can do something with a little bit different twist, and it's okay. Um, like I say, it wasn't bad. Now, this new one, the new Willy Wonka. The new Willy Wonka is a prequel. It is telling the story of how Willy Wonka got started. Now, the other two movies, Willy Wonka's already a chocolate bazillionaire. And in this movie, he's just starting out. He's trying to get in, and his competitors are trying to keep him out. And it's good. It's good. Now, I wasn't familiar with, to be honest with you, any of the actors except Hugh Grant. But apparently, the Timothy Chalamet that played Willie is an extremely good actor, well thought of, has been nominated for an Academy Award and has won a number of other awards. He's performed on the stage. And I thought he did a good job as Willy Wonka in this. I liked that they tried to keep the same basic style of costume that he was wearing, that Gene Wilder. And although I thought it looked a little more like the Johnny Depp than the Gene Wilder, but the top hat and the coat, and the background of the factory. Once at the end of the film, they show Willy Wonka, how he created the factory. I think it was supposed to be like a time lapse showing how the factory got built, and so you could see what it was going to look like. And it looked very much like the background I have behind me here, which is from, actually, I'm not sure which of the Willy Wonkas this came from. I was doing this in a hurry, so I didn't get a chance to notice which one this is from. But they all looked very similar. So let's hide this fella. And I believe, yep, I've showed you all the images. So they're all good films. The last one, the 2023 Willy Wonka, I thought it was well done. I liked the music in it. It wasn't nearly as much a musical, and same thing with the Johnny Depp film. The Gene Wilder film was a traditional musical. Almost every time somebody turned their head, they were singing. So it's in the older tradition of musicals, the Busby Berkeley and so forth. That was what you had there. Oh, I want to comment on something. You may notice the lighting's a little off. It's off on one side of my face. It's off this side of my face. What happened is I have a ring light that goes around my camera, and it equally lights my face for the camera. Unfortunately, this morning when I turned it on, it went bzz. That was it. So, luckily, I had another ring light that I had set up. I was going to use it to light the green screen. You have to light your green screen if you want a good image on it. I light it with a clip-on desk light turned around and pointed towards it. But I think this is going to do a better job. I'll put it off to one side so it doesn't end up in the image. Although I was thinking of putting some green screen on the back of it and see if that would work, so I could light it and have it in the middle of the screen. I don't know whether that would work. We'll find out. But anyway, That's why my face looks just a little different. You see, I've got it off over here, and yep, there you see it on the screen, a little. Yep, and that's as close to an equally lit face as I can give you. So hopefully it's okay. I don't like the shadows because I look old enough as it is without the shadows uh, accentuating the wrinkles. That's the bad thing when you get to be 68 years old. I don't look as young as I used to, although I have gone back to dyeing my beard, so that helps make me look a little younger. I was looking pretty homeless there for a while, so no offense to homeless people. I don't want to have any letters, please. So I hope all of you guys had a good New Year's. Let's see here. What else can we talk about for a little while? Yeah, well, like I was talking about, it was kind of interesting the differences in those films, and it makes you wonder. I guess the director is the one that decides that, or the producer, or the script writer. That I gotta think. Like I said, I gotta think it had to have something to do with the ability in the 70s to produce that scene. And maybe in the book, that's something I'm going to have to look up. If what are you guys listening to it? If you've read the book, maybe send me a text to let me know. Say, hey, Mark, stupid. Oh, wait, somebody has commented. Maybe somebody's telling me. Oh no, somebody tried to sell me something. Why does somebody do that in the middle of a podcast? I don't need your help. Thank you very much, but I don't need your help. How do I delete this? Okay, don't see any. Okay, can't delete it. But anyway, don't do that. I don't mind you trying to promote your business. They're trying to sell me services for promoting the channel and so forth. But if you want to offer me those services, that's fine. I don't mind. But don't do it in the middle of the podcast, because I clicked on it thinking somebody had asked me a question. And it isn't a question at all. It's just a sales pitch. So, no, please don't do that. It's just not nice. Now, I went to California Adventure yesterday with my granddaughter, and we had a good time till about 4:30, and she got sick. She's catching a cold or something, I guess, and she all of a sudden got chills and sick in her stomach. And so we had to come home about 6:30. So we didn't stay real late at the park, and I hate that because the tickets cost so much money. I hate to just spend a half a day there, but I mean, my pass doesn't matter because I've got a magic key pass. So I go, at least a couple times a week. I try to get my money's worth out of that pass because, as you know, they're not cheap. Let's see here. What else? I've been. In case you're on Facebook, I have created a magic key holder group on Facebook. So if you're interested in that, or just like Disney or seeing pictures of Disneyland, check it out. Look me up. Look at the groups that I'm associated with, and that's one of them. And it's different in that all the other magic key holder groups, there's half a dozen of them or more out there, but the admins in those groups just have a stranglehold over the group. And if you post something even slightly off, they take it down. And I'm sorry. I was in one of the, for instance, they have these shirts, they're Disney related shirts, or at least some of their shirts are. And the company's called Roosevelt's. It's RSVLTS, an abbreviation for Roosevelt's, like Teddy Roosevelt, the president. And they have really nice shirts, and they have a group there of people that buy, sell, and trade Roosevelt shirts. They're kind of, the people think they're Beanie Babies, and they try to sell these shirts for $1,000. That's kind of crazy. So they have some socks called Rock'em socks, and the socks are really nice. They have a lot of Disney characters on them. If you like Disney and you like socks like that, I mean, everybody likes socks, but check out Rock'em socks because they're really cool. And they had a lot of the very similar images to what the Roosevelt Disney shirts are. So, pardon me. I got to take care of that. So, that was something I thought went along with the Roosevelt shirt. So I put a picture, a pair of socks that matched the shirt, and a picture of that shirt, and said, "Hey, check out these Rock'em socks." And they took that down, yelled at me for spamming the group. And I mean, I'm sorry. So I quit the group. I do that just randomly. If somebody does something like that, I just quit. It just isn't, at my age, it isn't worth the hassle arguing with them. I just leave. So I started my own pass holder group. And we're up to 25 people, I think. It's slowly growing. So if you like that kind of stuff, check it out. I am letting you post whatever you want. I'm not approving it. I watch it. So if you post something inappropriate, I will take it down. And if it's really inappropriate, I will block you. So just if you want to post something to do with Disney passes or Disney related or a question about Disney or anything, you're not going to have to get the admin approval before your post shows up. Because I watch the group, and you may post, naked picture of Mickey Mouse or whatever you're up to, but it won't last very long. Because I get a notification every time somebody posts, and within 5 or 10 minutes, if I'm at work, it might be 10 minutes, but I will take a look at it. If it's not something I want on the group, I'll take it down. So that way the group is free. You can talk about what you want. You can post what you want within reason. And that's the way it should be. You shouldn't have to have these dictatorial people riding roughshod over all of these groups. It's just, it makes it not fun anymore. I don't want to post something and then have to wait. Some of these groups, you post something, and these are groups I've quit, but I have posted stuff, and it has taken a month before somebody approved the post. If you're going to put approvals as a requirement on your group, you got to get in there at least 3 or 4 times a day and check and approve the stuff. If you're not paying any attention to the group, then either shut the group down or take the approval process away, because your group's just not going to, it's going to die if you do that, because nobody wants to wait 3 months for an approval on a post. Nah. So, well, like I said, I have pretty much run out of things to talk about, and I don't want to sit here and just rattle on. So I'm going to go ahead and stop the podcast. I hope you enjoyed what I put out here. I'm sorry it's short, but when Melody isn't able to come on, and especially when it's at the last minute, I just can't gather enough stuff to sit here and chat about. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed the show, and I hope you will come back and join us again next week on Sunday. As always, that's one thing you got to say is no matter what, you can almost always find our podcast out here Sundays at noon. So enjoy, have a great week, and I hope you enjoyed our chat about Wonka. So take care.